Cup of tea, check. One problem, this camera is mirrored. Everything looked great in the preview, but now it's back to front. That's no good. Bear with me. For anyone who might be watching, I didn't advertise this stream because it's my first little test. And I thought I might show you something interesting, but we have a small problem. Everything's back to front. I'm going to see if we can flip this image. Mirror. Nope. Well, that's not ideal. We might have to move on if we can't help it. Just half a second, guys. I'm just going to see if I can flip this image, and if I can't, we're just going to continue as is. I'll still talk forward. It'd be weird if I was talking backwards, wouldn't it? Yeah, I can't see how to do it. You know what? We're just going to do it. Right. Well, here we are. This is the BBX. It's not the XB, even though this thing's back to front on camera. I haven't made my video about this because the build is still happening. But I've just been getting a little space set up here because I'm going to be on another little appearance on another channel in a couple of days. And I thought, you know what? Let's get some space. And I also thought, wouldn't that be a nice opportunity to just show you what I'm up to? So this is the BBX. This is just going to be a really short little stream because I wanted to just test and see if I could get rid of any little issues. For one thing, this whole video screen being back to front, but that's okay. Right. Oh, we've got a couple of guys in. Hey, Mike and Dirk von Franz. Now, one thing you guys are going to learn about me very quickly with live streams is I don't think and do, well, I don't do two things well at once. I'll do one thing and we can do that. So I'm going to glance at the comments occasionally. G'day, guys. But for the most part, I'm just going to focus on this, or I'm just going to lose my train of thought, and then we're all just going to be sitting at a blank screen. So I've been working on this on and off for the last week or so. And one thing you may or may not know about the BBX from Tamiya, it's a 2023 model, is that it has a ball diff. Now, when I'm on my normal computer here, so I can't just pull up a quick picture. I took a short video. You'll find when I post the main thing, because I'm building, I'll put my normal video together and you'll be able to see all about it. But this is a ball diff. I've got a few other cars here that have ball diffs, but this is the biggest one I have that has such a thing. So you've got two plates that go together. And instead of having the spider gears that rotate around the center thing, you actually have ball bearings that you put into a little plastic gear, and then the two plates run against each other. But then to bring all that together, this is the critical bit. I'll talk about this on my video, but you've got a bolt. You've got more little tiny ball bearings that sit inside the middle here, and then you've got a special nut. This is the alloy piece, and it's shaped like this. It's like a T-piece because it sits inside this outdrive here. The problem is the end of this right now is stuck in here. It broke before I even got to drive it. I've rebuilt ball diffs before, but I had a problem. They say you do this up a certain number of times, and I had a look online and saw a lot of guys are saying, you know what, we do it a little bit tighter. I kept it loose. And I found you could pick the thing up and you could tighten it just by holding one end and just turning it even when it was in. And the problem was when you did that, it got tighter and tighter and tighter until it forced it to turn. Then you go loose and it goes looser and looser and looser until the motor just spins. It's like this. There's a slipper clutch. It was honestly quite confusing. I built it anyway, pulled it apart, built it again, followed these things closely. I played with ball discs for a decade or more on or off. I reckon I had it right, but the problem was this little thing snapped in my hand. Yeah, it is a bit of a strange design. I haven't got my normal computer here, but I might be able to show you a picture of what I worked out. All right, so instead of having these two pieces here, make sure this focuses. Yeah, I think you guys can see that. This is not a strong bolt, this stainless steel thing. These carbon steel screws they're the stronger grade of steel for anything in the hobby. They rust, and so you see a lot of kits that are selling stainless, but honestly, this is the better material. Anyway, I couldn't I couldn't be bothered drilling the core of this thing out and then re-threading it. I actually just got a lock nut. So this is like the cheapest 20 cents, 30 cents worth of hardware. And I stuck that in the middle of this ball instead. And we're using a brushless motor, but I mean, that's the motor turning. And now there's your diff. It's smooth as silk. It's still a ball diff. We'll see how long it stands up. I'm not sure. I'm not overly confident, but I mean, it can't be worse than this. This snapped when it was in my living room floor at like a 20th of the throttle. I've got to have been doing something wrong. But yeah, I don't know if it was the material. Hey, I mean, sometimes you can tell when you look. I've got a microscope. We're actually filming inside my little clean lab here. I converted it to an RC studio. I used to have a microscope sitting here because I used to do electronics repairs under the microscope. And we'd be able to have a close look at this, but honestly, I don't know if it's high-grade steel or not. This is what gets cut out when I do my videos. You guys don't usually see this stuff. I cut out 3/4 of my driving usually, 3/4 of my filming, so you only see a shorter clip of it, and my videos are still really long. But I'll show you what I just did then, because I would have done this myself anyway. I've just taken a close-up photo. Yeah, the material's like a slightly different hue. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's nasty. Like, it looks like it should be okay, but I'm not sure. That it's really hard to say. Doesn't matter. Here it is. Yeah, right, exactly. So you know what it's like. You know what it's like. Right, so what I'm up to now is I've got my little driver painted, and the clear coat came out beautifully. I've made a bit of a mess of the power cables here, but your brushless motor sits in the back, and then the ESC entertainingly sits on an angle, and it looks really cool because you got sorry, this is reversed. It's doing my head in. You got the fan that sits behind it. This is just the telemetry thing. I probably shouldn't have installed that. It sits right behind the driver. It's supposed to have this shroud on it, but I couldn't fit it, and I used. This is overkill, but it's what I had. The Hobbywing, just the basic 120 amp. There's a 60 amp job as well that I quite like. But this shroud didn't quite fit over it. It's supposed to cover it, and so the fan would just blow out. But most speed controllers have fins that are vertical, and the fan will expel heat out the side. This shroud would stop it from coming out the top and could only get out the back, but that's where all your wires are as well. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I kind of like it naked how it is. It's, I mean, it looks cool. I just have to make sure I don't get it too dirty, because that fan's not going to last terribly long. So, oh yeah, man, it's totally fast. It's snappy, and I think that's why. Just replying to Derp there. It does boogie. That's why this thing broke. I think I'm just using this because I'm trying to get a little bit more for the RC-8X here. I just thought I'd try the gyro, see if I could get it working on this one. But yeah, it just danced just hard, and there was a snap, and it broke. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to driving it. And the steering on this thing is really cool as well. You look at the last bit of throw here. It's really extreme. So just on my wood floor inside the living room, this thing steers really well. So all I've got left is we've got a couple of lights that go on the front somewhere, I think just there. We've got some that go at the base of the A-pillars, and we've got the little red brake light that's going to sit probably above, so probably just there. I keep looking over at my computer because for anyone who's just joined us, the image is flipped, and I can't work out how to unflip it, but that's all right. So we've got lights left to do, and we've also got the netting left to do. It's going to go on the side of this thing. Can I get it easily enough? I can't show you guys behind me here because I've got cameras mounted now, but we're in my office, so you don't usually see it. But this is my Hornet. I wanted some netting. I don't know if you've seen my video or not, but I actually 3D designed and printed my own netting for that, and it came out pretty nicely. You can get that on my website, but like, I just give it away. But the ones that come with the netting, it's a little bit more scale. Didn't want to print that small. Okay, so we've got the netting to do, and just like with the Super Hot Shot recently, you can hold this thing over the little template and work out where you want to cut. And you just got to be, you got to do it smart so that there's enough left. That, you know what, that's smart. See, they saw me coming. Cut the thing in half first, and then you won't stuff it up. Oh yeah, I see. Look at that. So that fits, and you've still got more than half left. Beautiful. So we've got that to do. We've got the lights. I've done the stickers already. This is supposed to be all in blue. I haven't got the box picture here, but I decided to go with a dark red to a white fade at the back. If I was doing it again, I would have done this top bit in white, I think, because I think it would have looked better, but it came out all right, didn't it? All right. Hey, got a few more guys on. Hey, Berks. Okay, so we're going to cover most of this stuff in my little video about this car, but we've got lights left. We got the mesh. Oh, look, there are. I just told my friend Simon. I told him the other day, there aren't roof lights. What are you talking about? But yeah, there are actually. I don't think I'm going to do roof lights. That'll be the first thing that comes off this thing. I think it'll look pretty mean just with the side lights and the front. And then, yeah, that's sold separately. And I don't know that I want. I've got a sticker spare on the back. That'll look pretty rad. All right. So that's the short story of the BBX. And you guys got to see my little test live stream. I actually thought there might only be literally 1 or 2 people here, but there are a few of you. I would usually end this thing now because I just wanted to test and see how it works. This little flipping thing I got to work out. But you guys want to hang around with me for a bit just while I do some cutting and talking, or you're happy for me to kill it? I might just keep going unless you guys are adverse to it. Just watch how well I don't concentrate though. Just someone yell at me if I'm doing it wrong. Oh yeah, so I'll tell you one last thing before I cut some lights because it's kind of cool. No body pins on this. I haven't worked out how I want to talk about this yet. All right, I'll keep going. Thanks, guys. Yeah, this thing comes off with Velcro, and I tend to be a bit ham-fisted with this stuff. Look, it's already stuck. How am I going to keep this from coming apart? That's not even where it went, is it? Oh, both the back ones came off. You know what we've got to do now? We've got to line that up. We've got to press it back on. I don't know how I feel about Velcro. The Gen 8 V2, I knew nothing about that car when I first got it. And it had Velcro under it, and that's worked out really well, but it also never detached from the body. The reason I'm peeling this off before I get to the lights is I wanted to tell you one other thing. There's a big old battery in here. It sits in the bottom. That's a good center of gravity, right? But the problem is, you pull this pin. Oh no, you know what? I haven't done this yet. You're getting my unedited thoughts here. Usually I'll make my mistakes off camera. And this whole thing's meant to lift up. It doesn't lift very far, but I tell you what, it is far enough. Geez, I didn't think that'd come out like that. That's actually pretty good because that's a full-size brick. Hey, that's not bad. Now, do as I say, not as I do. Don't keep your batteries inside your models. That's dumb, he says as he puts the battery back in the model. But it's asking for trouble, so don't do it. You can't say you blame me because I just said don't do it, but I'm just going to do it. All right, get that back in. This is a bit fiddly, but it's still a lot better than the RC Run 80. That didn't even make a space for a battery. I still haven't worked out where to put my battery. Okay, let's get these lights finished up then. I don't know if I want to do all these lights. What do we got? The receiver. Where's that sit? Got to remember now, I did it a little while ago. Oh yes, okay, so the receiver's right underneath the driver. So if we want to run lights and actually do LEDs, getting it to the front there is easy enough. Getting it to the front here is easy enough. Yeah, okay. We might run lights. Let's just build the things first though. Curvy scissors for the win. Let me just have a quick look at this chat here. I said before I can't do this stuff at the same time. Let me have a read. Oh, it's nice to see all you guys here, eh? Yeah, you're exactly right, Dirt von Franz. These lights would get ripped off in a big flip. I'm not going to do those top ones. What else we got? Hey Blitz RC, it is a good day to be wrenching in Victoria because it's raining. I was up at 3 a.m. with my little lad last night because he couldn't sleep, and we were up for an hour and a half or so, and I looked at the weather for today and it said slight chance of rain, and on the satellite a third of Victoria was already covered with water. And of course it's been raining all day. I don't know, but since COVID and the flights went down, which is where they got a lot of their telemetry from, now that the flights are back, the predictive models for weather just haven't been the same as what they were. They used to be actually pretty good down here, but they've really just gotten a lot worse. And I reckon it might be because they haven't got the big data that they used to have for their models, and so now it might be a couple of years until they're accurate again. But I just made that up, so maybe that's not the case. Anyway, I actually like driving in the rain. Driving in the rain's actually, I think, possibly my favorite thing. What about you guys? I've got a couple of guys in my circles who, if it's raining, they'll cancel, but there are a couple of us that actually celebrate, do a little fist pump, and then happily go out and splash around. I like getting these things wet. It's just fun. Okay. Now, here's the bit where I stop talking for a moment and concentrate, or I pretty much guarantee I'll muff it. I don't think and talk at the same time very well. R4, so we need one of them. And we need R3. This build went together really easily. For anyone who's been thinking about a BBX, I always enjoy a build that starts with the gearbox. If you've just joined me, you got your transmission at the start. It's the very first thing you do, including that ball joint. Watch this from the start later if you're curious, because I tell you the little story of why this got broken. That's worth having a quick check out. But you get the thing together, and then the body's actually really quick and easy. Oh, now, how many of these do I have to do? See, I started talking and I stopped thinking. Oh, yeah, and screws. All right. You don't need Gore-Tex, James Burke. You just need... Oh, you can wear Gore-Tex if you like. I was just about to have a giggle at you and I realized that's exactly what I wear. Never mind. Move along. All right. I'll pop them over there. This is a pretty little backdrop for my videos, but it's not particularly practical for sticking screws because they're going to go absolutely everywhere if I'm not careful. Here, they can sit on the RC-TNT. I'll be able to see it better. All right. This is all that's left of the build from a screw point of view. It was actually pretty well appointed. You've got some O-rings here for securing the body. There are a couple of O-rings under some of these screws on some of the pieces. And you've got Velcro here for that top piece. And look at this, another servo saver ring. I bet you this one's stronger than the one that's in the new Mojave 4S. That thing's made from a wet noodle. Okay, so we need ME1, which is 2x10, and I'm going to think that's got to be that. No, Blitz RC, it wasn't just needing to be tightened, if you're talking about the Mojave. The servo saver is the weak point. It really is. It's certainly tough. I mean, I intentionally drove that thing badly, like roughly, and it took it. Oh, hang on. I'm not paying attention again. I can probably remove this whole cover. Yeah, I drove it roughly and it took it just fine, and all that slop in the steering was great. I mean, even a more precise car like this is still going to have some slop. Not much, though. Not like that thing. But, yeah, the servo saver was designed to protect the steering. And look, that happened, but I've only run 4 batteries through it. 3 of those batteries, or 2 or 3 of them since I did the video, and the servo's now making an awful noise. It's effectively failed. And when I'm on a live stream in a couple of days' time with RC Remedy, one of the things I might work on if I get a chance is I'm just going to start by sticking a 7.4 kilo servo in it before I go to like a 14, 16 volt direct current thing. But I might remove that servo saver because I don't think it's up to the job. But gee, what a tough truck, eh? That's not like this thing. Just as well. Oh, thanks, Noisy Boy. Good on you, mate. Appreciate that. Although, guys, if you're thinking of doing that, I'd be quite happy if you saved your money and spent it on something worthy. Some kind of... Maybe there's some way we can get some kind of charitable thing going in here where it can just be done with a click. That'd be nice. I'm not asking for your money. Although it is turned on by default, isn't it? Okay. But yeah, I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. YouTube's a funny beast. I didn't cut that very well, obviously. I followed the instructions, but that is too big. You know what we need to do? We need to get one or two other people on so that we can have a bit of a chat while we do stuff like this. Because you don't want to sit here watching a guy cutting a piece of Lexan out with curved scissors, do you? Not really. I mean, maybe once, but you wouldn't want to come back next week for it. Surely not. But maybe if we can get a few people to talk to at the same time, we could have some kind of workbench thing. I hadn't really thought about it till Nath at RC Remedy got onto me on Instagram the other day, and he invited me onto his little show. So we're going to try that on Thursday, and if that works well, I might actually finally get around to doing that as well, because I've been meaning to do it, because it seems like a fun thing to do. Because that's got to be more fun than watching some dude cut Lexan with a piece of with scissors. Surely, that's quite entertaining. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I haven't actually sat down and watched it properly yet. I don't actually watch a lot of YouTube. I'm just so busy. I don't really make that kind of time. I should check out one or two of his streams though, so at least I know what I'm getting into, shouldn't I? I was just talking to him before. We're just doing a little camera test. That's why this is all here. And that's why I thought, you know what? I'll just press record and see what happens now. All right. I haven't even got my lucky screwdriver here. Geez, that doesn't look like the right screw. I'm using the wrong screw. 10 mil. Usually they show you the screw on the side. Oh, they did. Look at that. I don't know if that's right. It looks right. I'm even wearing my glasses, and I'm wondering where I left my glasses because I can't see what I'm doing here. These things are tiny. Okay. Screwdriver. Nope. I started putting all my tools into this manly little purse bag, and that's been really useful. There we go. Because now I can just chuck this thing in the car. I've got a huge toolbox as well, but just the essentials. Having the essentials it's been really handy. Oh, my light fell apart again. Probably because there aren't any screws in it, Craig. The Yikong TB7 1.7 replica of the Fun. I don't even know about the Funhaver Ford Bronco. Huh. Well, I guess we better look into that. Half the cars in my little collection here, it's not so little anymore. They've come up because people like you have said, hey, Craig, have you heard of this? And usually my answer is, no idea. So it's nice to learn about new stuff. Although it may not look like it, but I've been actually quite restrained with the models we've gotten here. I've been sent a handful of them, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 of them, but gee, there'd be quite a lot more than that here. I never would have come across without doing RC-TNT, but what a time to be in the hobby, eh? There's so much choice now. And even like the power systems, like I'm doing this short course little roundup with the 8 different cars. 2 of them, I've got the Techno here and the Hobeo. I needed just a basic brushless system. I don't even remember what I selected in the end. 3250, there you go. Just a basic, like you can just get so much cool stuff now that's just It's nothing like it used to be. It's so much cheaper and just so reliable. It's just unusual to have a failure now, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I suppose China has up their game, and well, that's a whole kettle of fish. That's a whole conversation over a beer on a veranda, isn't it? Right. Let's see here. Where did I put my other tool? Oh, this is the brake light. So how does it secure the lead? It just literally sits through there? Yeah, right. I guess that'd be durable enough. We definitely have to get the red LED in it though. That will look great. I actually have all the LEDs here. I should wire something in. I've got my soldering, well, most of my soldering gears in storage now, but I could set a camera up over that as well and actually do some proper stuff and show you guys how to do the finer things without, like little connections without burning or melting things. There are little tricks I've learned over the decades working on teeny tiny electronics. I used to make my own little soldering iron tips with even in a pinch you can even use like a piece of a staple, or if you need a bigger one, the piece of a paper clip, you just trim it and you can drill it, tap it, and just use like a grub screw to hold it in the end of your piece. There are a lot of little tricks you can do to keep the heat down. I don't know if that'd be interesting. I mean, I know it's interesting to some people, but then the problem is with YouTube, if you make something that people don't watch, except for like the dozen of us that are like complete and total nerds, it gets buried. Then the rest of the channel just starts to sink, and then nothing you do gets shown. So it's all about finding a balance. Now, no stickers over that. We've still got a few stickers left in the sheet, and these A-pillar ones we are going to use. I'll be quicker this time. I've done my practice cutting out. I think I'm ready to pass kindy now. Let's have a look at the chat. Sorry, it's been a little while since I looked. Can't do two things at once. Let's have a look here. Thanks, James. The monologue. Well, I mean, I've got to say something, haven't I? And the problem is, if I start looking at this chat while I'm doing stuff, I will make mistakes. Let's have a look here. Blitz RC. Oh, okay. So you've bought the big thing. Cool. When you say it's coming from China, did you buy it from like AliExpress, or did you buy it from like one of the established hobby shops like RC Mart or Asia Tees, or somewhere else? It is a rabbit hole. You're right. Yeah. All right, Chris. Happy to do some soldering tips. It's I mean, literally, I was just talking about soldering tips, wasn't I? Yeah, I can show you guys all sorts of little tricks. As I've learned quite a lot over the years, and this hobby stuff is usually quite easy compared to the really fine stuff. I've actually sold a lot of my gear now from data recovery, but I had an interesting machine that you'd be able to lift the chip off the board, and then you'd interface it with the just like put the memory chips in this thing, and then you actually have to work out how on earth the ROM was written to, and then you've got to start working on getting the data out. It's been getting refined because I was doing this a decade ago and more, and they're getting more complicated these days. But yeah, all these, I mean, even we're filming in here, and some of the remnants of my business, I used to do a lot with data recovery, and I've just kind of stepped back and started picking up RC cars instead. This is a lot more relaxing, I can tell you. Doesn't quite make the same money, but it makes more smiles. It's a privilege. All right. So if you're just tuning in, welcome. This is Cutting Pieces of Lexan with Craig in his shed. It's absolutely riveting, and I'm glad to have you guys along. See if you can stand to watch the awesomeness for more than a minute without your brain melting. All right. Someone else is going to have to help Mike out. I've got no idea on that. I do have a couple of HPI cars here, but none of them use drive belts. Oh, though, that reminds me. I've got the USA 1, the electric version, sitting here. You might have seen it in the background of my last video. It gets its video soon. I'm just busy with short course trucks and tire testing. That's a lot of work. But the bottom of the USA one has a chain drive in it, and you can see the chain underneath where you usually see the spur gear. It's really cool. But I can't help you, Mike. Sorry, I couldn't tell you where to look for a drive belt. Hey, g'day, Muskoka Mike. I said that wrong, didn't I? Muskoka Mike. Yeah, I'm looking forward to driving that thing. Haven't even driven it. I've got batteries coming for it. I can't even show you. It's right next to me. I've got the LMT sitting in about 30 pieces next to me here too. It's been out for one proper drive, and it already had some mods on it. Now it needs a few more. That thing did not like being treated like a basher, although I drove it really sedately for the first little while. The problem with driving cars that need special care, like the Baja Ray and Super Baja Ray, the problem is Craig gets bored after a little while, and then instead of just a little bit of this, it gets more of that, and then before you know it, bigger bada boom. Did it really? Tiger snake. Do you know, I was crouching down next to a tarp over some grass I was preparing to grow. We had a big mound of dirt here, and I was crouching down just adjusting a water sprinkler, and I looked up, and it was literally the width of this thing away from me. Massive tiger snake was coming out under the tarp, and he wanted to get away from me, but he had to come right up to me before I could go over the tarp and get away. And our local snake guy, who I see once or twice a year, he said, yeah, they'll do dumb stuff like that. They'll come towards whatever they're trying to get away from. But he said if you're not aggressive, they're usually just like big scared puppy dogs, and they'll just kind of run away when they can. We've seen some hefty boys here, though. Some pretty big ones. They get pretty large. Hey, you got an SCX-10 Pro coming. Awesome. I saw that one of those things took out the World Championship last for its class. I think it was the WRCCA event in the US that they had not too long ago. A couple of our guys from Australia went over. Steve and friends. You might have seen him in my ECCF roundup. We've got ECCF again in March next year. But the SCX-10 Pro has a bit of a shopping list of upgrades you need. Yeah, see, this is me trying to think and talk at the same time. You need to do some upgrades on that thing before it's properly competitive. But it's quite an impressive machine once you've done that. But you need to get to be competitive with other rigs. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of tuning. They've got a carbon fiber body. I don't know how much difference that'll make, but I mean, the guy that cleaned up was using all that stuff, and bent rear links as well. There are a few other bits and pieces. I like the car. It just it bottoms out. It what's the word? The breakover needs some work. That's all. The geometry just needs a bit of work. There's plenty of potential in that car, though. Clearly. Oh, see you, James. I'm going to have to close this stream pretty soon too, because I've got to go do a school run pretty soon. But aside from getting the camera back to front, which I need to work out how to fix, this has been a fun little test. This was only going to be like a 3-minute test run, you know. But I didn't think all you guys would show up. I thought, oh yeah, we might get 1 or 2 people, and that'll be okay. I'll say good day and then test things out, then close it off. But no, you just all went, whoop, here we are. So it's great to see all you guys. Thank you so much for dropping by while I sit here and ramble and stick the wrong screw in the wrong hole and the wrong piece, because that's what happens when I'm talking. But we might see if we can get some guests on. I'll do this thing on RC Remedy on Thursday, and we'll see how that goes. And maybe we'll do a little bit more with live streaming, because I've been meaning to get around to it. And it's actually quite fun seeing you guys talking away here. It's been good. So thanks for dropping by. If you only just got here, have a look at the first couple of minutes if you want to hear a bit more about the BBX. I talk about the busted. I'm talking. I'm going to stop trying to do that, and I'll just talk. Have a look at the start of the video. I tell you all about the story of how this one centerpiece bears all the power of the brushless motor, and how maybe it's not quite up to it, or it could just be my bumbling incompetence. That's entirely possible. It's a pretty car, though. So yeah, the first 10 minutes or so, we're talking about this thing. And in the last 15 minutes, I'm rambling, and this is what I've achieved so far on this stream today. One light. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to end it here because I'm bound to time. I got to leave. But it's been fun just to see you guys here. Really appreciate coming along. Throw me a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again really soon. We've got the next video is going to be a couple of days. We're doing more with our massive part roundup of short course trucks, and of course, it won't include. It won't include this monster that we still need to drive. You can probably guess what that is. There's a lot to do here. Whoa, that was actually quite ambitious picking that up. Right, so until next time, guys, it's been fun. Thanks for dropping by. I'll catch you again. Bye. Yeah, it is massive. See ya.